Mark from the States, Mark from the States, it's Mark from the United States.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Mark from the States. How we doing today? I am doing fantastic. I hope you are as well. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate all of you. I really do. Thank you. Big Fat Couch, you know what to do here. Come sit with me. About a week ago, I guess, we watched a video on our channel about a special train locomotive, Flying Scotsman, and great video. It is put out by the National Railway Museum. So before we begin, I want you to all go to their channel if you have not, and support them and what they're doing over there. It is so important that you do. They've been gracious enough to allow us to watch and learn from their videos. The link to this video, which I'll explain here in a sec, and to their channel is always in the description below, right? You gotta just scroll down just a tad and you'll see the links and you can go there. It'll take you right there. It's what's amazing about the link. It'll just take you right there. You don't have to look for it. You don't have to do nothing. I've done all that for you. So get over there and support the wonderful and fine people over at the National Railway. That's not how you say it. National Railway Museum. It's important that you do. So today, so we did that video, Flying Scotsman. Everybody who commented, thank you so much. Added so much to the video, which is what I love. But a lot of the comments were saying, yeah, Flying Scotsman, great loco. But the real star of the show was Mallard, the Mallard. Would we call it the Mallard, or would we just say Mallard? Anyway, however you want to say the name, that is the pinnacle of loco right there, and fastest ever, I guess, at the time. We're going to learn something about it. I've heard of Mallard. Of course, I've heard of it while doing this channel as well. I couldn't not be sure if I'd heard about it before our channel began, but I certainly have heard about it now. And of course, with the magic of television, we're going to be able to learn about it. Thank you to the National Railway Museum, and please go over and support them. Important. So anyway, come with me. We're going to learn. I know I am. I know a lot of you probably already know a lot about this particular engine, but maybe there'll be something you didn't know, and that's what's awesome. So sit back, let's do this. This is Inside Mallard, the world's, and I say the world's, that's the planet we're on, the world's fastest steam locomotive. Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Bob Gwynn, and we're here at the National Railway Museum, and today we're going to have a look at Mallard.
Mallard. I gotta learn how to say it properly. Mallard. Beautiful looking train. I know it's a steam locomotive, but it's beautiful. Look at that thing. I love that color blue. So already it's got style points with me. But yeah, it seems like the National Railway Museum's got all the important stuff. So if you're a train guy, I don't know how you have not been there if you haven't been there. I'm not going to put myself in the I'm a train guy category, but I have been enjoying learning about these wonderful pieces of machinery for sure. Mallard. Loving the paint job.
Okay, this is Mallard. built in 1938, and it's a London North Eastern Railway A4 Pacific locomotive. So thanks to this magic stick in front of me, we're going to have a much closer look at Mallard today and find out more about it. Well, Mallard, apart from a beautiful shape and it's this beautiful colour, of course, you know, is very famous for being the fastest steam locomotive in the world.
On 3rd July 1938, this locomotive attained a world speed record for steam traction of 126 miles per hour. I believe in the last video of Flying Scotsman, I may have said that it went over 100. Is that even true? No one, I think, corrected me, so that one may have went over 100 miles an hour as well. But 126, especially in 1938, must have been just something like, this thing's like a rocket ship. Man, it looks cool though with the shape, and I don't know if this is the original color, but it certainly looks way different than anything else, right, from that era. Sweet looking though.
3rd of July 1938, this locomotive attained a world speed record for steam traction of 126 miles an hour. Well, we're going to talk about that record because it's an interesting story.
Uh-oh.
In 1938, steam was still king in the UK, but fundamentally, what you've got is rivalry between the two big railway companies in Britain at that time, with Mallard from the London and North Eastern Railway, and then Duchess, which is from the London, Midland and Scottish Railway.
Oh!
And what happened was that Sir Nigel Gresley, who was the chief engineer of the London North Eastern Railway, he was in conversation with a fellow called Norman Newsom, and he said to him, what do you reckon? Can we beat the LMS? And Newsom said, well, I reckon we can. So what they did was they got a real whip-hand driver called Joe Duddington, who was 61, and his fireman Tommy Bray was big muscles, and they got an inspector called Sam Jenkins, and they set off with the train, and that was it. Off you go. As you can see from the outside of it, it's a beautiful streamlined shape. It's been formed in a way that makes it cut through the air very smoothly.
Yes.
They developed the streamlined shape in a laboratory where they had a plasticine model of this kind of engine. And the problem was that the smoke was not lifting from the chimney, and it was drifting over where the driver and fireman would sit.
Double chimney.
One time they put this plasticine model into the smoke chamber to blow some smoke over it and see what happened. All the smoke started to lift, and what they discovered was that somebody had put a thumbprint accidentally behind the chimney, and that slight depression created a vortex that lifted the smoke clear of the cab. And that thumbprint is there to this day on Mallard.
Really?
So Mallard's full of interesting secrets, really. And really what's important about it is what you can't see. It may be streamlined on the outside, but on the inside, the cylinders here, there's 3 sets across the engine, and it's been designed so that there's no back pressure, so that you can go as fast as you possibly can with it. What else can we see on the outside? Well, because it's streamlined, there's a few things that are a bit more difficult. So the front end here, you've got to actually open that up to get any char and thing that's come through the tubes. To open it up, you actually need a key. The key goes in here. You wind that up, and it opens the flap up, so that you can basically get any of the rubbish that's come out from the fire up to the chimney and ended up in that space out, so that the locomotive works correctly. There are a couple of other things, because of course it's streamlined. You've got to oil all the different bits on it. So it's actually got the oiling points are actually, there's a little sort of door. You have to open the door to get into where you oil
get
the motion,
access.
because every little moving part, you know, it's all going to require oil on it. Down here, you've got the...
That is interesting, because I never really even thought of that. Of course, it's going to need oil for everything that moves. By putting all that stuff on it, yeah. It's pretty ingenious, though, the thing. We're going to, instead of having to remove panels and whatnot, you just get these little doors, slide them open, get your oil can, and away you go. Crazy.
The thing that puts sand under the wheels, that allows the wheels to stick a bit better on the rails if you have a problem with wet rails. Because don't forget, the contact patch on a locomotive is only really the size of a thumbnail on the wheel. It's a tiny amount. So why is it called
That's crazy.
Mallard? Well,
Mallard.
when this was built, Sir Nigel Gresley lived in a house that had a moat around it. There's a picture of him feeding these ducks. And a number of these locomotives were named after birds. So there's a mallard, there's an osprey, and so on. So it's just
Gold
basically
eagle,
a nice name,
kingfisher,
and
falcon,
it suggests
sparrow,
something going
hawk,
swiftly through the air.
Okay.
I think it's probably a good time to have a look on the cab of the locomotive.
Let's do it.
Just have a look at what Joe Duddington did on that day in July 1938. Now this is a view a lot of people don't get. You get people peering in through the window to have a look, but we're very privileged now because we're in the cab. Let's have a look at how this machine works. Let's start off with the most important bit, which is a very, very large fire, which is in there. A ton of coal burning very white hot. I mean, here's some coal, a ton of that burning white hot in there. And you've got a fireman with his shovel. There's his shovel. What he's doing
Nicknamed
is he's
Blade.
firing, in LNER terms, over the flap. He's firing in there, and he's got to get coal into the corners of the firebox on both sides, right to the back. The fire in there
Interesting.
would be so hot, that's why there's kind of baffle plates here to protect the driver sat here so that the heat doesn't get to him. So he's responsible for that. He's responsible for keeping the water levels. This shows you how much water there is in the boiler, and the water level would be sort of 3/4 of a glass, sort of up here to up here. And really, his controls are put the water into the boiler and keep the fire glowing absolutely white hot. The driver's on this side, and what he's got 3 main controls. He's got his regulator, which is basically what lets power go into the machine. It's the thing that lets the steam go from the boiler to the cylinders. So it's, if you like, it's like the accelerator. On this one, it's kind of beautifully sculpted. It's got that sort of curved end to it. So
Like a piece
you
of
hold
art.
it really nicely.
Yes.
And then he's got his brake, very important. And the brake,
Yes.
this
Yes.
shows you how much brake he's got on. He should be on 21 inches of mercury up here when it's running. Steam chest, pressure gauge. This would be changing as you went along based on the steam in the cylinders. The actual steam gauge up here, right round red mark, 250 pounds per square inch. You'd really want to see it round on the red stop, as close to the red stop as you can, because that's giving you the maximum amount of steam to use in the machine. And he's got his reverser down here, which the reverser is the thing that basically gives you full forward gear, and then you can adjust it. So you're using less steam going into the cylinders. That's fundamentally the driver's controls.
Confusing.
Behind us, of course, we've got a few other things. In here, you've got a coal space.
8 tons. Wow.
So the coal space, all of that would be coal, and underneath it in the tanks is water. And of course, best of all, you've got this shelf which you keep your oil cans on there so the oil remains viscous, but of course you can also keep
Coffee.
your billy can on there so you've got hot tea at all times. And some northeastern people used to put an onion on there to roast. So
tea.
you could use it however you want. It's your kind of means of getting tea on the go, which is an important part of any railwayman's life. What would it be like when it was running in normal service? Well, you wouldn't want to touch any of these. These would burn you. These would be very, very hot. And it would also be rattling and banging. So you've got that kind of banging, clattering, hissing, roaring sound at all times. It's a very different environment to the quite clinical environments of a driver experiences today. And we're very privileged that people are still prepared to go out and drive these big machines at speed on the main line. Well, what did Duddington do on that day to break that record? Well, he sat here ready to go, and he's got the fireman, Tommy Brays, working hard to make that fire really, really hot. Duddington has got the regulator in his hand and he's ready to set off. The one other thing that Duddington does is wearing a flat hat, and so the story goes, he's ready to go and he turns the hat the other way round so the brim's at the back so it doesn't blow off in the wind if he's looking around.
Right.
Blows the whistle and the day starts.
I was watching. I'll go back. I think I skipped over. I was watching that video or the clip they had of the guy. He just has to watch by sticking his head out the window. I instantly thought, God, I wonder how many hats the guy loses. But if you turn it around, sure, that will probably do the trick. But just pretty wild to think with these, what I would consider rudimentary levers and wheels and stuff like that. But for the day, of course, and to get this thing to go that fast, science with the steam and hot coal and all, pretty remarkable. The thing that has really kind of stuck in my head so far, and I know I've seen it on the other videos that we've done with trains, is the sand. That little spout that they have that puts sand down on the track there in front of the wheels so it can stick. That has just given me an uneasy feeling. Especially if you're going 126 miles an hour. My Lord. It just seems, I mean, we've got a problem with trains coming off the track. How do we fix that? Well, let's put sand down. We'll just put a little bit of sand. Really? Amazing. And it works. But it's just, it's pretty wild. Pretty wild.
Blow off in the wind if he's looking around. Blows the whistle. And the day starts. That record-breaking run starts. So he storms up.
Certainly
Stoke
looks
Bank,
cool.
comes out on the top and just keeps it wide open. Speed increases because it's also dropping from there.
It's all
on.
slight downward
As they're
grade.
dropping down, the speed has gone up to 120 miles an hour. He doesn't know that. He knows he's going very fast. Because actually on here, the speedometer, it is fitted with a speedo. It's under the fireman's seat over there. That's the speedometer. It's actually a French device, a flammid speed recorder. And that thing's got a paper trace in it. It's like a tachograph, really. And in France, they were known as the snitch because they snitched on drivers. At 120 miles an hour, they know they've beaten the LMS. They know they're travelling very fast because actually attached to the locomotive behind is a dynamometer car, which has very accurate speedometers on it and means of measuring speed, which is what really recorded what Mallard was doing on that day in 1938. And the people from the dynamometer car were saying, well, it looks like the maximum was 125 miles an hour, but it was, in the end, a world record for steam locomotion, which has never been beaten. And it was delivered by a crew that really wanted to succeed. They were a very good team on the LNER. So to this day, we think of Mallard, quite rightly, as the fastest steam locomotive in the world. Thanks for watching, and join me next time when we have a good look in the dynamometer car. There are more episodes of Curator with a Camera coming, so do subscribe so you don't miss them.
Please go to their channel. Yeah, maybe we will look at that video. I don't know if we'll show it on the channel, but the thing looks really cool. Let's be honest. It's the fastest, but man, it looks pretty cool. That what was the name of the other one? Duchess? Is that the other one looked pretty futuristic as well, but it's the blue here of the Mallard. I know I say it with my lazy American English, Mallard. Mallard. I like how that sounds better. It gives it more, it gives it kind of a more high society name, Mallard. But yeah, who would have thought naming a train after a duck be known for the fastest, right? You'd think it would be called the cheetah or something. But it's certainly, as far as steam locomotives go, it's pretty cool looking, and I love the streamlined thing. I found it very interesting with the thumbprint by accident, which a lot of improvements to certain things always seem to come by accident. They're like, hey, that actually improves the whole thing. So yeah, pretty neat. Trains. Who knew that I would be fascinated by trains? I was never a train guy growing up, or a train kid, I should say. There may have been, my uncle had a big train, like makeup. He took up a whole room in his house, and he built this, what would you call it, a diorama, some sort of model train complete with like little town and mountains. And yeah, he was really into it. And I think maybe I was into it a brief moment, like a hot minute. And then I got into, I think it was girls, and found out that girls weren't really into trains. So, but yeah, great video. Please go support the National Railway Museum and all that they do over on their channel. Just go and like and subscribe. If you'd like to like and subscribe to our channel, if you haven't already, I know hardly anybody has that watches our videos. I think it's like 80% of people who watch our videos are not subscribed. It would certainly help our channel. We are certainly kind of just starting over. I have the 2 strikes. One of them is going to be gone in 2 weeks' time. So I took a lot of videos off the channel. I didn't delete them. In fact, I could put them back, but we're just kind of starting over. So our subscribers have dropped, like the total number, and with that comes the algorithm. It's stuff I don't understand nor care to understand. It's just the way the YouTube thing works. Is things drop, not as many views on our channel, and therefore it doesn't get suggested to others that we could welcome into our family. But it is what it is. But I am so blessed to have what we have here. So you guys are amazing. Anywho, Olympics are ending this week, so enjoy the rest of those, and hope everybody's happy, healthy, and safe, and we'll see you soon. Take care, everyone. All right, bye.
Mark from the States, Mark from the States, it's Mark. Yeah.